Hello guys, welcome here to Tinkle Sports Talk. We're back for another week. Not a big news week in any way, shape, or form, but a big NFL week.
Oh, really?
I would say a big NFL week once again. I want to assure you guys the show is not just an NFL show. It's just football is obviously the most watched sport in the world, and that's why we're
Right.
talking mostly about that. We will have more baseball news eventually. Of course, the playoffs are coming up soon, so we will have more of that. We do have one story from the NBA, which we believe is very noteworthy. We have also got our Week 2 recap, our top 5 recaps for the week, or top 5 takeaways. And then, of course, we will have our Week 4 predictions and Tinkle on this for the week. You'll love the Tinkle
Week
on
4
this.
predictions. Don't you mean Week 3 predictions?
Week 3. I made a mistake. You edited it, and I didn't realize you edited it, and I thought it was from last week, so...
No.
Keep in mind, you logged in before I did today because I was coming home from work and I was exhausted. So,
Right. No, you're good.
Long day, long week. Hence why Out of Turn 4 wasn't up till Friday. So my apologies. But we're here today. Anyway, let's get going. NBA news. Ben Simmons, he has decided not to report to training camp, and he has said he will not play for the Philadelphia 76ers ever again. I guess
I know we talked about this before our break, and I know, the relationship between Philadelphia and Ben Simmons has, hit a hard wall. But the thing is, Ben Simmons, you're not the player that you think you are. You're really not. You can't hit free throws. You can't hit threes. Teams see that and they're like, do we really want a player that can't hit his free throws and can't hit his threes? No. And do we really want a player that... he was working on it during off-season workouts and stuff like that. He was working on his threes and looked good. But the thing is, until he can actually do that in a real game, then teams can be like, all right, you know what? We can probably take the risk on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, the very first few years in the league, he was injury prone. He didn't play like the first 2 years of his career. Actually, no, not the first 2 years. He didn't play the first year because he was out the whole year. He technically wasn't a rookie until his second year, even though he wasn't really a rookie. But the thing is about Ben Simmons, yes, he's a great defensive player and, can generate some points for you on offense. But the problem is, if you can't hit the most important things that the NBA are looking for nowadays, especially if the game's on the line and you need a three, Ben Simmons ain't going to be your guy. If the game's on the line and you need a free throw, Ben Simmons ain't your guy. So if teams look at Ben Simmons, they look at, he's not our guy. He's just another, 76er reject that is probably just going to go, fade away into the dust and just be a bust at this point.
He's slowly... Here's the thing. I always believe that there are some players that can benefit from a change of scenery. Maybe he's one of those guys that can just benefit from a change of scenery. But on the other hand, he could very well be another Michael Carter-Williams who's just struggling to hang on to his career at this point. Now, Michael Carter-Williams, for all intents and purposes, he's a good point guard for a team that's needy of a point guard. He's just good enough to get the job done, but here's the difference. Ben Simmons and him, and I compare them both because they both have size at the point guard position. However, I feel like Michael Carter-Williams is better suited for the point guard position than Ben Simmons. I feel like Ben Simmons he's a forward playing point guard at best. And to be honest, the NBA has kind of shifted away from the point guard with the size that can't really shoot. I mean,
No.
let's be fair, though. I'm not even going to compare him to Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson had the size. He could shoot. He could do it all. Okay. Like I said, that's where I think it's... To me, I'm between he needs a change of scenery. Maybe he benefits from it. Or, on the other hand, maybe this is a guy who's just going to be like Carter Williams. He's just going to float around the league for a few years and then eventually fade out.
Yeah, so. I think he might just, it might be better for him to shift to a team that could, use his strengths to his advantage. But
let me hint at this. He's still very young, and I think that's what's on his side right now. Now, if he was a 30-year-old point guard, if he was 30, 35, I think we would have wrote him off a while ago. It would have been, nope, he's proven, this has been his career. So, again, maybe, I would like to see him go to the Spurs, maybe, because I feel like maybe Popovich can work with that old style kind of play.
Right, I think so.
If I know we don't have that written down as far as where we think he could go, but again, I think San Antonio would be a good destination for him if they can afford him, just because, again, Popovich worked with the guy who was a great defensive player. That's Kawhi Leonard. I mean, granted, Kawhi Leonard can shoot just a little better than Ben Simmons, but
a hell of a lot better.
Well, let's be fair, though. Kawhi wasn't known for his shooting. He was known for his defense.
Right.
Okay, he was known as a defense-first player, which is what Ben Simmons is. So that's where I feel like he would fit that system. Maybe, just maybe, it would get Popovich back on the map as the NBA's top coach.
Well, the only problem I have with him wanting to go to the Spurs is now that they don't have DeMar DeRozan, and, Rudy Gay is literally your top player maybe on that team. Do you think that, they would have to trade away Rudy Gay to get somebody of Ben Simmons' caliber?
I mean,
or would it be something that they can trade away like a first round, or like maybe not a first round, but like a draft pick, like a second round draft pick or something like that for him?
Give up a draft pick. I mean, Rudy Gay is still Rudy Gay. I mean, he's not the greatest, but he's not the worst.
Right.
But again, I wouldn't be shocked if they traded him away, but I would just say that the Sixers really don't have room to, they don't have really equity in this trade. It's more, if they think that they got equity because he's a quote-unquote star player, you've got another thing coming to you. He's not at all a star player, yet he really hasn't proven that he's gotten that title yet. So again, maybe a compensation with the draft pick. That's what I would see as most likely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he can go to the Spurs all he wants, but they're still gonna struggle no matter what because they just don't have anybody.
Yeah,
and I honestly, again, we talked about how we think that he is out of his position. We talked. Yeah. I think it was me or you. Yeah. We talked about it on a previous podcast episode where he's a point guard or a forward playing point guard in an NBA where this is not going to fit. Same thing could be said about Luka, but Luka can make it work. But as far as that, I don't see him. Being on teams' radars, unless he was to prove, play this year and prove to teams that he can actually be, worth something. As of right now, the first, I think he's been in the league about 4 years now. The first 4 years of his career just is not enough to say, oh, I think it's time to get him because... he's just been a hell of a player. It just you look. You're a team. you look at that and then you just see, nope, I can't go for that.
Yeah.
Um.
Exactly. But anyway, moving forward here.
Yeah.
We got our week 2 our NFL recap here. I guess I'll start with the takeaways this week.
Because it was me last week.
Yeah, so we'll switch it off here. So, first takeaway, it has nothing to do with the games or the teams. It has everything to do with the middleman, and that's the referees. I think it's time, I want to be clear. If you've heard these podcasts in the past, I have defended referees. I've said, look, if you call the game consistently, if you call it, if you set the tone early, you're fine, in my opinion, because that's the way refereeing should be. But let's face it, and, this is Salty Chargers fan coming out. 2 straight weeks we've gotten robbed by the guys in stripes. Now, last game we got away with a lot. Okay, keep in mind, week 1 we got away with a bunch of blatant face masks, but they made up for it with the roughing the passer calls that shouldn't have been called. Okay, this week, though, we lost to the referees. We didn't lose to the Dallas Cowboys. We lost to the referees at the end of the day because that illegal shift was bullshit. And if you want to go back as well, we lost ultimately because of the pass interference where Hollywood Cooper ran straight into our defenseman. By the way, he got hurt after. I never wish for a player to get hurt, but I will just say he got what he deserved for playing Hollywood there, trying to draw a flag, when really he should have been called for offensive pass interference.
Right.
Okay, let me just say that. That's my number 1 point. And my pitch to the NFL, if you saw our Twitter, by the way, I actually there's a post on our Twitter right now that says, NFL, you hiring referees? I think it's about time that they just realize that, they have a problem here. And they need to get rid of these guys. They need to get rid of some of them. Okay, let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. It shouldn't take you 5 minutes in a conference to determine a call once the flag is thrown on the field. Okay, if you throw the flag on the field, you know the call. And here's another thing. I think an overhaul would actually be a great idea. And let me explain. So basketball, there's no top official. Okay, it's what you see, you call it. Okay? There's no main official that goes up and says, what did you call here? Because I'm going to announce it right now. Okay, overhaul that rule. Another thing, get a sky judge. Okay, it's worked in the XFL, it's worked in AAF, which AAF sucked. But let's face it, the sky judge was perfect. But like basketball, they should adapt a basketball type rule where if you blow the whistle or you're the one that throws the flag, you're the one that announces the call. You don't need the permission of the other refs around you. Just call what you believe is right. Okay.
I know. I kind of happen to agree because they have like a side judge, a line judge. And they literally have only one ref.
Eliminate that. Okay, just say you got this zone, I got this zone. Just say to these 6 referees that are on the field, or however many referees are on the field, just say, what zone do you want for this drive? What zone do you want for the next drive? And that's what you call. At the end of the day, what you see is what you call. You don't need permission from your fellow referees to do it. And just say that you designate one before the game that checks the replays. Okay, that's my rule. Or actually, better yet, just say the more experienced one with the better reputation gets to review the replays. Okay?
Yeah.
That should be the
That'd
rule.
be alright.
Okay, that's the only exception right there. Okay? So that's my number 1 thing, okay? I have no problem losing to the Cowboys. I have every problem in the world losing when the referees take the game away. Okay? Late in the game, just let the illegal shift go at that point. Now look, Herbert didn't help the case, but they, and Brandon Staley didn't help the case, but, the refs were at least 40% of the reason we lost at the end of the day.
Right.
So that's my first point.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to blame there
Yeah,
for that loss.
I want to
for
be
damn
clear.
sure.
I didn't want to drag out point number 1, but I felt it was important to explain what I meant by overhaul the referees. So I figured that was an important breakdown on my top 5. So number 2, Kyler Murray. Look, I want to be clear. I read top 10 NFL quarterback power rankings from CBS. They have Patrick Mahomes number 1, Russell Wilson number 2, Brady 3, Rodgers 4, Prescott 5, Herbert 6, Matt Stafford 7th, Kyler Murray in 8th, Josh Allen 9th, Lamar Jackson 10th. Stop right there. Kyler Murray is the number 1 quarterback in the league right now. Okay? Plain and simple. If you don't agree with it, go back and watch what he's done the last few weeks. He has carved apart defenses the last few weeks. Okay? He is on the verge of a breakout MVP season right now. I know we're only in week 2 and I might just be calling it early, but he is probably the MVP frontrunner right now. Okay? And don't give me the, oh, well, look at what Patrick Mahomes has done so far. You know, I don't care what Patrick Mahomes has done so far, okay? Here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes has done great things. He's by far the number 2 quarterback. If we're going to go top 3 on the power rankings, it's going to be Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and I would actually vouch and say Matt Stafford's number 4 right now. Okay? I would be almost as bold to say Matt Stafford's number 4. Russell Wilson's 5th. Okay. Then we got Dak Prescott's top 10 right now. Okay, let me just go down the rest of the list. I'm not going to go 6 or 10. I will just say Dak Prescott's top 10 right now. Justin Herbert, fringe top 10. Okay, he's probably 9th or 10th if we had to guess right now in terms of the power rankings of quarterbacks. Josh Allen really isn't in the top 10 right now in my books. He had a hell of a game, okay? His team had a hell of a game, but to be honest, he's showing shades of year 1 and year 2 right now. He needs to find his rhythm. Okay.
And honestly, I'm glad that he knows that he has to get better.
Yeah.
If there's anything that a quarterback needs to do in year 4 is understand that you have some growing pains that you're going through. And I know it's going to be a long season. This is the longest season in NFL history already.
Yeah.
But you got to find it, and your defense can only help you win so many games before they get too damn tired.
And you know, I will say this as well. I give a lot of crap to Lamar Jackson about being a running back in the league, but that game against Kansas City showed that he is a good quarterback as well. Okay, yeah, he made a few stupid choices, but I mean, when it came down to it, he showed that even if he's not the world's greatest quarterback, he is definitely a great leader because it was his call to go for it on that 4th down play. So, but that actually leads into part number 3 of my top 5 takeaways. The Chiefs, I called it. I don't care what you say. I called it. I said that they weren't as good as last year. I said they're going to have a few more losses on the record books. And frankly, I'm going to be as bold to say the Chiefs should be 0-2 right now. Okay? They should be 0-2. Because they...
Yeah, if it wasn't for the Browns and Baker Mayfield messing up and throwing that stupid little dinky pass fluttering in the air and getting intercepted, they would have easily have gone down the field, probably scored and won the game against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah. I 100% believe that. Okay? And another thing I'm going to say, I love every year how they say, oh, Patrick Mahomes in September is amazing. He's never thrown a pick. He's never lost a game. Okay, slow down. It's fucking September, okay? No one gives a shit what goes on in September in the NFL, okay? September doesn't mean shit, okay? If we're going to talk anything about Patrick Mahomes, we should talk December, January, February Patrick Mahomes. And especially February Patrick Mahomes. We want to talk Patrick Mahomes. Let's talk February. Where is he in February? Okay? Because he really didn't lead his team to the Super Bowl win. Okay, he got led by the fact that Kyle Shanahan choked in the Super Bowl. Okay, and then he was non-existent in the last Super Bowl. Okay, I believe he had like 2 picks in the game to no touchdowns.
Something like that.
So, like I said, if we're going to talk anything about Patrick Mahomes, let's talk about his February stats. Okay. So, but yeah, I called it. They're not as good. They're still good enough to win the division. But they're not going to be, this godly, like, untouchable in the AFC like they were. So, that's what I'm pointing out. Another thing here, staying on the topic of the AFC West, the Raiders are bluffing again. Okay? 2-0. Now, mind you, yes, the Steelers, they were 1-0 entering the game. I believe they lost TJ Watt in that game. That was a good part of the reason that they lost to the Raiders. I want to say they lost him.
Probably.
And keep in mind, there's a reason that TJ Watt
I'm gonna say
is
this
the top
now.
player.
You can say they're bluffing as much as you want to, but to beat the Ravens in overtime and also beat up on a Steelers team who has a pretty damn good defense doesn't look like it's as much bluffing to me. Yeah, I get it. It's still early in the season.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. But to get 2 tough wins already, and Derek Carr has been averaging almost 400 yards per game. Man, just the dude's slinging that right now in those first 2 games.
Here's the thing. Can we really credit them with the fact that TJ Watt was out for practically the whole game? Okay. Because let's face it. You take TJ Watt off the field. TJ Watt's a game changer. Okay. If TJ Watt plays the whole game, Derek Carr's going to be lucky to get 300 yards. Okay. Derek Carr, to me, is not an NFL. He is not a franchise quarterback, and I've been very vocal about it for years, especially since they compared him to Aaron Rodgers, which isn't a fair comparison, unless you want to compare him to Week 1 Aaron Rodgers this year, because that's literally what he looks like compared to actual Aaron Rodgers. Okay, he's not shit compared to him. Okay, so again, I want to be clear. The reason I say they're bluffing, every year they start out well. They beat teams that are really good or expected to be good, and then they fall apart. I'm just waiting for it so that way I can say I told you so at this point. But again, I stand...
Well, the thing is, I will say that, of course we'll go into our week 3 predictions, later in the second half of our show. But if I want to say anything, I think that they're a team that can start 3-0 because they're going up against a team that's down their starting quarterback and hasn't really found themselves yet. So
yeah, let's be fair. Miami has been in a never-ending character finding situation since the day Marino retired. So that's all I'm gonna say about them. Now, number 5 here. You're not gonna like this comparison. I believe you didn't when you saw me type it out. Zach Wilson.
No, honestly, it's all right.
Zach Wilson is, in a way, a mediocre Josh Allen. Now, hear me out here. Okay? Keep in mind, Josh Allen had a tough start to his career. He didn't have a good offensive firepower around him. I mean, he had LaShawn McCoy in the backfield. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But really, McCoy was on the back half of his career. He wasn't, shady, like, 1,200 yards shady that was, like, bulldozing defenses. He's, but Zach Wilson, here's the thing. He doesn't have a wide receiver right now. He really doesn't, if you look at it. He doesn't have really a good offensive line right now. something Josh Allen had to start out with, a shitty offensive line. And on top of it, he's making, his completion percentages are low. Same as Josh Allen. Sure, the ratios are a lot worse. A touchdown to interception. But, again, another thing we can say is Peyton Manning's NFL debut, his rookie season, he had more interceptions than he did touchdowns. Andrew Luck, I'm pretty sure, had the same thing. Okay, I'm just saying, don't write off Zach Wilson yet based on the first 2 games. Okay, keep in mind, he came from BYU. Right. Okay, he came from BYU. He came from a college that really doesn't play anyone that's playing for a bowl game, like a major bowl game like the college football playoffs. He doesn't see those teams. So this is a new learning curve for him, much like Josh Allen, much like Carson Wentz, and very much like Blaine Gabbert. The question is, how is Zach Wilson going to overcome this? And I'm going to tell you how he does. A lot of studying. And by game experience. 2 big things right there.
I mean, he looks like he could be... He seems to be a pretty smart guy that can eventually get to that, time where he can actually read defenses and be the quarterback he wants to be. But if I know anything about, quarterbacks in these small schools, they usually end up being the sleeper quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna know about them, but somehow watch out. They're gonna, surprise you a little bit. But the thing is with Zach Wilson, I don't know.
I'm just saying, don't write
I don't
him
think
off
his
yet.
situation is all that great.
Let's face it. He entered a team where the offense was lucky to be ranked even 25th, let alone 28th in the league. Okay, That's what I'm getting at here. Okay, he's not like Patrick Mahomes, who inherited the NFL's top offense when he came in. Okay, he's not like, Josh Allen inherited, I would say, a 20th place offense at best. Maybe a mid-pack offense he inherited. Okay, Zach Wilson's got to work from the ground up.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just saying, don't write him off just yet. Okay, this is a team still finding their stride. They'll get there. I think, honestly, I have confidence in this coaching staff. I think they'll get there. Just relax, in the words of Aaron Rodgers. Relax. But anyway, I'll just leave it at that. So now we'll let you get your takeaways here.
All right, so, my takeaways, I think the first one, Bills basically won off the sense of their defense just overpowered the Dolphins' offense. I feel bad. I really do. It sucks to always see any quarterback go down hurt. But when your old line doesn't protect you and you're Tua Tagovailoa and you've had injury problems, I guess what did you expect was going to happen type of thing? I mean, to see him get fractured ribs, I hope for the best of him. I really hope he comes back stronger than ever. I honestly, I'm one that doesn't mind Tua Tagovailoa. I think he, when healthy, he's a great quarterback. But the thing is, that's when he can actually be out there on the field. When he can actually be healthy, here's one guy
I can write off right now. Okay, just one based on the school. Okay, he's had it easy his whole career. He's had to play East Bumfuck University his whole career up until the national championship. Okay, here's the thing. To me, he's nothing more than a Tim Tebow. He's getting the hype now, but in a few years he won't have it. But the difference is he's getting the He's actually getting the reps as opposed to Tim Tebow, who didn't.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, if we want to say anything about Tua Tagovailoa, it wasn't even him that won that national championship for Alabama. It was Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, Jalen Hurts looks like he's more primed to be a better franchise quarterback than Tua ever will be. And I know that's, kind of hard for me to say it, but it's kind of the truth.
See, and I agree with that. But I will just say as well, to those who, like my brother, who blindly have faith in Tua Tagovailoa, look, at some point you're just going to realize it. It may be next year, but to be honest, he's not the quarterback you all make him out to be. Okay?
No.
There's a reason he dropped that far. And to be honest, and I read something today, just remember, Dolphins, in a few years when you have to choose for his fifth-year option, if he keeps going at this rate, just remember, 4 years ago, you could have drafted Justin Herbert. Just saying. You could have had him.
I know. But also, if there's anything that I definitely saw, I think the Bills' pass rush, if they can consistently gel together with the youth and the veterans that they have on that team, watch out. The Buffalo Bills defense might just be, if they can really grow together as a unit, I think they're going to get pressure on quarterbacks literally every single week. So if I'm Taylor Heineke and I know he's good, he can move out of the pocket. He showed that he can lead that Washington football team offense very well. If I'm Taylor Heineke for being a young quarterback like he is, I will watch out for that defense.
Yeah. I'm not sleeping on
Yes, you have guys, playmakers like Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas and stuff like that, and you can make plays down the field. But this is also a defense that's pretty put together after, with 5 years under Coach McDermott. So I wouldn't be sleeping on them just yet. I know it's still early, and I know that a lot of teams they're going to go up against for the next few weeks. I mean, they got Washington, they got Houston, then they have Kansas City and Tennessee. That defense is going to have to show up because there's a lot of these offensive teams that they're playing up against that are really good that they're going to have to show out for. So, but from what I saw in week 2, if that can literally be what could happen for the next 15 weeks, I think offenses have trouble at their hands. Now I go into my second bullet point. Rodgers finally played like Rodgers, but the problem is, doesn't he always against the Lions?
Yeah, but and I put an asterisk next to it, because at the end of the day, he played against a shitty Lions defense. Okay, so I agree with you there. I wouldn't judge it on the Lions, and there's a reason I said earlier when I made my point that he's not top 10 right now. Okay, he's still not top 10 in my book.
But we'll say, he definitely looked a hell of a lot more focused than he did week 1. And if he can stay that way for the next 15 weeks, I honestly think Green Bay can be back into the playoffs and also, potentially win the division for the 3rd straight year under Matt LaFleur. I'm not saying that he won't, because Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams had great weeks. Robert Tonyan finally got himself a touchdown. So I think that the Packers, had to get through that, week 1 slump. And I really do think that if, we can get weeks where Aaron Rodgers is just going to go off, where Aaron Jones is going to, which by the way, I'm happy that he was able to retrieve that necklace of his late great father. Ashes are in that football. I was happy that. Shout out to that trainer who stayed out there until 2 a.m. finding that. Kudos to that guy.
I'll give you that.
Kudos to that guy. Because I'm sorry, you gotta be, you have to be that damn committed to go through a whole entire stadium just to try to find that. So kudos to him.
Aaron
But I will
Jones.
say,
Aaron Jones, buy that man a Mercedes, will you? Come on. You got paid.
yeah, right.
You got paid, or you're gonna get paid soon. You owe that man something for spending his hard-earned, or spending his hard-pressed time on that field.
I know. And honestly, it's hard to say that. I think Aaron Jones, who had 4 total touchdowns, was also the main reason why they beat the Lions in the first place. Receiving touchdowns and 1 rush touchdown. You definitely know where his mind was. It was in the game. He wanted to play for his dad out there. So if he can keep on going like that, because there was one season where he led. I want to say the was the league leader in touchdowns for a running back. It was either last season or a couple seasons ago. So to see him getting 4 in one game does not shock me because he's done it before. Now, my third bullet point, even though it's a very young Panthers defense, I think this is the best defense they have had, gelled-wise, probably since 2015, to be honest. They can, bring the pressure from the edge. That number 53 guy, holy hell, man. He is a wreck. He is a machine from the edge. J.C. Horn, I think, is going to end up being probably one of the top corners in the NFL in a few years. He kind of has that, Jalen Ramsey type structure for him. And I'm sure that's what they've been missing in Carolina ever since he left.
Jacksonville. That's where he was from.
Oh, that's right, Jacksonville. That's right, because I'm thinking of the former Bills player there that was in Carolina.
Yeah, it's Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman. I guess if you think about it, he kind of has that Josh Norman impact, when he was still in his prime, and then it has that Jalen Ramsey type structure to him. So don't be shocked if he ends up, turning into a great corner in a few years. I honestly think that the Panthers will get there. I think Matt Rule has really built up that defense. But the problem about the Panthers, too, is it's all fine and dandy. It's the same thing with the Dolphins. It's all fine and dandy building up defense because, defense does win championships. But if you can't build up that offense and give, weapons around Sam Darnold, which, by the way, Sam Darnold, I think, has really revitalized his career in the first few weeks of the season. But if you can't give him better receivers other than just Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore, I'm not saying that they're not great receivers, they really are, but the thing is you got to give him more protection around the pocket. And Christian McCaffrey, I think he needs a little bit of help because he can't really stay healthy. But if I know anything, look at what happened with the Panthers that led them to Super Bowl run. Yes, I know it was offense and it was Cam Newton, but it was also part of their defense was looking pretty good when they had Luke Kuechly. So I think this is the best it's been since they had a Luke Kuechly-led defense in 2015.
See, I just want to say, Saints fans, stop making excuses, okay? Quit making the excuse that you had all your coaches out on COVID, you had 8 players out on COVID. Okay, enough of the crap. Okay, come on, you lost. Okay, you got beat.
Yep.
Here's the thing. You got beat and you got beat bad. After you beat the Packers.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, so, okay, enough excuses. And as far as Sam Darnold, I was going to say, I thought at this point in the season we were going to say you can take the quarterback away from the Jets, but you can't take the Jets out of the quarterback. But let's face it, I think I think they took the Jets out of the quarterback.
I think so too, because the man is just showcasing he might actually be a quarterback worthwhile for Carolina. which is hard for me to believe because they had what, Teddy Bridgewater last year in Carolina with Matt Rule.
Yeah.
And and look what he's already doing in Denver. And you look at that and be like,
come on, give me a break
so he
here.
couldn't do anything in Carolina, but he did something in...
Okay. Let me just say this. Give me a break about that, what he's doing in Denver right now, okay? Let's look at the two opponents that he's faced. He faced the New York Giants. Shitty team.
Right.
Always battling. They're either third or fourth every year in the division. They always start out 0-2 for some reason. Then you had to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, which has lost 17 straight games in the NFL. And by the way,
insane.
They're going against the Jets this week. They will be 3-0. But let me put it this way. Compare it to the Steelers of last year. They are the weakest 3-0 team right now in football, assuming that they win later today.
Probably.
So I just want to say I'm not denying that he's having a good year, but just before you even jump to the gun there, look at who he's playing.
I know.
Okay.
That's true too. My fourth bullet point. I agree with you that Kyler Murray is on the MVP level, but you can't help but admit that after 2 games so far, Tom Brady just might be on a freaking MVP level right now. Holy shit, man! The dude's ageless.
Yeah.
44 years old, and he's playing like he's freaking 24 out there.
Oh yeah.
The dude's ageless. It's insane.
Yeah.
The things that he can do right now at 44 is insane. And they were showing a picture between Tom Brady, who is 7 years older than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looked like he was older than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Because act like how the hell that makes any freaking sort of sense.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Tom Brady, here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes will always be the most gifted. He'll always be the Harlem Globetrotter of quarterbacks. But Tom Brady will always be the GOAT of quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay? There's no denying that at this point. He's going to break the passing yards record. By the way, he's going to break the passing yards record, and I bet you he does it in New England. Storybook ending again. But, yeah, look, Patrick Mahomes can be the... Patrick Mahomes can be the magician all he wants. But at the end of the day, who has the rings? And don't say that Mahomes has only played 4 years of his NFL career. Okay? Because, again, Patrick Mahomes will never be worthy enough to hold Tom Brady's jockstrap. But, hey.
Right.
Let alone any of the other good quarterbacks. So, anyway, I'll let you move
and going off of what you said with Zach Wilson, I really do think that I'm going to add some more to it. I think Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, so far in the first few weeks of the year, are the 2 worst number 1 and number 2 picks in history so far. They are literally showcasing why teams probably kind of stretched to get them, because I get it. You can say, well, Jason, they don't really have the best teams around them. They don't have really the structures around them. Yeah, that's probably true. But the thing is, Trevor Lawrence can still go out there and do the best he can, and showcase why he was the number 1 pick. Zach Wilson can still go out there and showcase why he was chosen at number 2. So far, they're showing to me that they were probably 2 of the worst, first 2 picks so far. And it's kind of sad that Mac Jones, and I, believe it, he also went up against a Dolphins team that hasn't really gotten it together, almost beat them. Then he also played up against a Jets team who is really crappy right now and pretty much blew them out of the water. So we really don't know truly how good Mac Jones is as of yet, because he really hasn't gone up against a true defense. But then again, if you look
Listen.
at the Dolphins' defense, yes, they are one of the top defenses. But the thing is,
Mhm.
if you look at it so far, Mac Jones is kind of showcasing that he might just be the best rookie quarterback. And congratulations to um,
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields for getting his first win as a quarterback, not as a starter, but as a quarterback.
Mhm.
You know, which
He's
I'm going to add to that too. He's actually starting for the first time in his
yeah.
career this coming
Um,
week.
can I just point out about Justin Field or not Justin Fields, Mac Jones? Here's the thing, he's got the right mentality, and again, we've said it the last 2 weeks on this show. He is the best, like he is in the best situation to succeed long term, and I think he's showing just that. I'm telling you, he is going to be a headache. Let me put it this way. Josh Allen and Mac Jones are going to be a headache in that AFC East for the next God knows how many years.
Yeah, probably.
So,
I can go for that.
look, it may not be this year, but I'm telling you it's a two-team race in that division, and it's the Patriots and the Bills. Okay, I had faith in the Dolphins being in that race. They may be a fringe third, but it's not looking that way right now. They're a fringe candidate. They'll be third, but I thought they'd be a fringe candidate, and that's not looking like it.
No, if we were going to go off of anything in the AFC East, I still think it might be the Bills one. And I think I'm going to say this now. I really do think it's going to be in this order. It's going to be, and I honestly didn't even think this was going to happen. I really do think it could be like a Bills, Pats, then like maybe like a Dolphins and Jets type of thing.
Yeah.
And don't be shocked that the Dolphins and Jets also fight for dead last in that division.
Yep. I wouldn't be shocked at this point, but anyway, with that though, I think it's time to take the break here. When we come back, we'll have our Week 3 predictions. Just a disclaimer real quick, we are not going to have the records on the bottom. We're recording on Thursday. The Thursday night game is actually still going on right now as we're recording. So we hope next week we'll have the updated records below. But in the meantime, we'll be back in just under a minute here on the audio version. And on the video version, we'll be back in just a moment. All right, it's pick time, Jason. Let's start off with the Washington and Buffalo matchup. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't exactly have any of the odds yet. Hold on, let me go over here. I think I clicked on the wrong thing. Buffalo is a 7.5 point favorite. There we go.
Oh, wow. This one's a tough one for me. I mean, because I know 2 years ago, Buffalo beat them, but that was also a different time. I want to give the edge to the Buffalo Bills, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what analysts are thinking. I don't think it's going to be 7.5. I think it's going to be, I don't know, like within 3 or 4 points. I don't think it's going to be like 8 points or whatever.
Yeah,
I'll round it up. I think it's going to be a lot closer, but I want to give the edge to Buffalo. I think the defense will be enough to keep Taylor Heineke from being Taylor Heineke in that game. And I think, and I will also say this too, making this prediction, I think Josh Allen will come into Josh Allen form in Week 3. I think he's going to know, he's going to learn from the mistakes of the first 2 weeks of the year, and I think he's going to be going out there and completing like a little over 70% of his passes in this game. So I want to get the edge to Buffalo and say Buffalo will win Week 3 against Washington. If
you're watching on video, I didn't even need to say why what I was doing when Jason just said that. So here's the thing. I agree with you. I think Buffalo's going to win. I will say, though, it would shock me if it's anything above 20 points as far as both teams scoring. I think this is going to be a really defensive game because both teams are just loaded on defense. So, to be honest, I don't see Josh. If there's a game Josh Allen's going to come back into form, it won't be this one because Chase Young is going to be in his face every play. Let's face it, Chase Young is that guy you just can't contain right now. Him and TJ Watt, you just can't contain those guys. I mean, you could have the world's best offensive line; he'll still find a way around it. Same with Aaron. I mean, Aaron Donald goes without saying. I'm just saying, as far as two guys there, those two guys are guys that. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I wouldn't rule out a Washington upset. I don't think it's likely, but I'm not ruling it out.
No, I'm not ruling it out either. That's why I said it's kind of tough for me to really have chose like a winner, but I definitely gave the edge more to one team than the other.
Here's the thing. We normally have a Cinderella story in the NFL. You know, Tebow mania, Minshew mania. You know, I think Heineke's a little bit more than a Cinderella story. I think he's actually a really good quarterback, and I think he's their franchise guy, to be honest.
I think so, too.
I think they'd be foolish to move on from him. So, but again, that remains to be seen. Anyway, on to the Bears. Anyway, on to the Bears and the Browns. Browns have a 7.5-point favorite right now.
Also, I don't think that Justin Fields has a very favorable matchup for him in his first ever start in the NFL either. Nope. So I'm going to give the advantage to the Cleveland Browns.
Yep. Welcome to the NFL, Justin Fields. This is for you. Okay, and if you can't tell on audio, that was an L that I was holding up. So, anyway.
Big ol' L.
Do we even have to predict this next one? Can I just ask that to start out? Ravens, Lions, Baltimore, 8.5-point favorite. I don't think we even need to predict this one. I think we both know who's going to win this.
Yeah, it's going to be Baltimore.
Yeah. Don't need to even explain why. Okay, I think Monday night proved why. So on to the Colts and the Titans. By the way, sorry. Before I announce that spread, sorry, Phil, your team sucks. Okay, just throw that out there. Tennessee 5.5-point favorites.
Oh my gosh, I think the analysts are being too kind to the Colts. I think this is going to be a blowout game for Tennessee.
I don't think Carson Wentz is
playing. An Indianapolis team that doesn't have Carson Wentz at all because of two sprained ankles.
Well, we can't rule that out necessarily, but at very least he's going to be slowed by it if he does play, which I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. There's just no way, honestly. And even if he does, I just don't. I think Tennessee will beat them. I just feel bad for Colts fans. They went from Andrew Luck to Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz.
Like, oh, come on, don't snub Carson Wentz.
Oh, I'm going to, because 0-2 start does not look very favorable for the Colts with Carson Wentz. Tennessee, honestly, no lie, I thought Tennessee was going to lose that game to Seattle. Mm-hmm. But Derrick Henry showed up, and he showed up in the right time.
Yep. He showed up in the place.
Don't be shocked if he shows up and has over 200 rushing yards this game against the Colts. So I'm choosing the Tennessee Titans over the Colts.
I'd go as far to say that, too. You want to know what? I'm going to say Titans by a mile. I think Henry showed up last game. Now I think this game Tannehill is going to show up. So that's my prediction there. Anyway, Chargers, Chiefs. Why are they so disrespectful to my team? 7-point favorites, Kansas City.
This is going to be a really tough game between both teams. It's really hard for me to choose a winner. I want to see if the Chargers can clean up their act. I want to go to Chargers. But the right thing for me to do is probably choose the Chiefs over the Chargers. But then again, it's tough to tell. It's really tough for me to choose a team here. But I'm gonna go with the team that I just think that my gut's gonna go with. I hate to say it. I know, Brian, you're probably gonna, I probably know who you're gonna be going for. But for me, I probably gonna have to go with the Chiefs.
Well, I'm agreeing with you on that one as well. But here's why I'm gonna say they're gonna beat my team. First off, I think they're gonna win by 3, maybe less. I think Kansas City wins by 3, maybe less. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I don't think Mahomes is going to have the world's greatest day. I think there's going to be 300 yards. I think 300 yards is a safe bet. I think he's going to have a touchdown and a pick. Be honest. I'm going to tell you another thing. They'll have a second one, but it'll get called back for a penalty. Mahomes won't get sacked once because anytime they lay a hand on him, they'll call unnecessary roughness. I think this is another game where the Chargers are going to have it dictated by horrible referee calls. So that's why I'm going to go with the Chiefs, because let's face it, and you can accept it or deny it, Patrick Mahomes is the new Tom Brady, where the 12th man, the ref, is going to bail his ass out.
Yeah, so, probably.
That's all I'm going to say. Saints, Patriots, and the Patriots are 3-point favorites here.
This one's also another tough one. But then again, Jameis Winston came back down to earth in week 2. And it was Jameis Pixton, not Winston.
Yep.
You see what I did there?
Oh, I like that one.
But I'm gonna go. I hate to go for a team that's in my division, but I had to go with New England over New Orleans. Yep. I think New England's gonna make Jameis Winston, Jameis Pixton, and he's gonna have a very rough week 3.
Home team always has the advantage, and in my opinion, New England is still kind of a tough place to play. That said, I'm going to go New England.
He's rushing the cooler. He's going for a Truly.
Shoot.
He extends for a strawberry lemonade.
I'm sorry, I had an ad pop up. My apologies. But yeah, so I think Mac Jones is going to have a hell of a game. So that much I will say. New England. But here we go. The Shit Bowl is the next game. The Atlanta Falcons, goodness. The New York Giants, 0-2, both teams. The Giants have a 3-point advantage.
Oh, goodness. I want to give Atlanta a lot more credit because they were really trying to come back on the Bucs last week before the Bucs just we can let you come back, but nope. We're going to beat you. And the Giants, they just have had it rough. So I'm going to go with Atlanta. I think they're going to get their first win against the Giants just because in the sense that they almost were kind of coming back on the Bucs. But then, again, how much of it was just, Brady telling the Bucs to troll them as much as possible, type of thing. But I want to go Atlanta over Giants. They're going to get their first win. Giants are just going to struggle for a little bit before they can get it going again.
I'm going to go Atlanta too. I just think at the end of the day, Atlanta almost beat Philadelphia. I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks. Okay? They're a good team. So, again, I feel like the Falcons will edge out a win here. As we move forward, though, Bengals, Steelers, Pittsburgh 3-point favorites. Is Big Ben still washed up?
I don't think so. I think that he can edge out a win against the Bengals.
Yep, I would agree. But I think one thing, I don't know anything about TJ Watt if he's playing or not. But that could be a game changer if he's not, much like last week. I think it'll be close because it seems like the Bengals are the cardiac team this year. So, that much I'll say. Here we go. Cardinals, Jaguars, another one. Why do we even have to pick this one? Because we already know what we're going with. I'm not even going to tell you the spread on that one.
Yeah, definitely Arizona. Arizona is going to start off hot.
It's going to be another reason why Kyler Murray's the number one quarterback in football right now. Okay, we're both picking Arizona, clearly. Here's another one, a no-shit game. Jets, Broncos. Should we just skip this one? Because we both know we're taking Denver in this one.
Yeah, Denver for sure. Come on now.
Alright, now that we've skipped ahead, here's another one. Could this be a no-shit game? Dolphins, Raiders. Raiders with the 4-point advantage. I don't think this is necessarily like, the Jets, Broncos, but I do believe it's a no-shit one.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Jacoby Brissett, showed that he can at least do something in the offense, unlike Tua, but the Vegas Raiders have been, they have a hell of a lot better defense than I think people think. And I think, they could make Brissett's day a living nightmare. I hate to say it, I think Miami is going to struggle mightily this year. And I hate to say it, as much as I don't want to see the Vegas Raiders being 3-0, they're going to go 3-0, whether we want to see it or not.
Yep.
And Miami's definitely going to struggle until Tua can come back from that rib injury.
Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. Brissett's more the pocket passing quarterback. And to be honest, I think he will find his stride. I feel like the receivers will have better days. But to be honest, I see the Raiders just barely edging this one out. Keep in mind, Vegas's defense not as good as Miami's, or not as good as Buffalo's defense. So here may be the toughest game to predict all week. Okay, here's the thing. This has got to be the game of the week, without question. Is this on Fox? It is. So this will more than likely be America's game of the week this week. Buccaneers and Rams. And the Buccaneers have a 1-point edge.
Wow. I'm going to say this now. I really do think, as much as Tampa Bay has been on a freaking absolute tear to start the year, I'm thinking that the Rams and Matthew Stafford might just actually be able to beat Tom Brady. And don't be shocked. I'm just going to say this now. Don't be shocked if this ends up being the NFC Championship game this year. The Rams and the Bucs.
I wanted to say this was going to be a game we were going to disagree on the outcome. But I thought you would take the Bucs and I would take the Rams. But to be honest, now that I'm thinking, and if you saw me on camera, I was slamming the desk about it. I'm not going to lie, though. I would not be shocked to see it, but here's why I'm going to take Tampa Bay now. One, because I don't want to copy Jason on every pick that we make. And number two, to be honest, the Bucs have had a year in that system, whereas the Rams are still finding their way. I think this is a game that now they're actually playing, in a way, a real opponent. this is where the growing pain is going to be. There's going to be that bump along the way for them where the growing pain is going to be there, and I think it's going to be here. So I'm going to say Buccaneers, but it's going to be a close game. And like you said, I would not be shocked if this is the NFC Championship game. So, anyway, we go on to the other game at 4:25. It's the Seahawks and the Vikings. Seahawks, how do they have only a 1.5-point favorite?
I have no idea. Probably just because of, like, how back and forth it might end up being. That's probably why, which very well could happen. But the thing is, I really do think that they don't give enough credit to Seattle. Seattle, yeah, they let one slip out of their hands against Tennessee. And don't be shocked if they can end up doing that again in Minnesota. But I think Seattle is going to avenge that loss that they had. And I don't think that they're going to let Minnesota come back if they have a pretty sizable lead. I think they're going to learn from that mistake. And I think they'll end up being 2-1.
I agree here. To be honest, you know when we said that there are going to be coaches on the hot seat at the end of the season? How did we not have Mike Zimmer on this list? How did Mike Zimmer fly below the radar? I hate to say
no
it.
idea.
I hate to say it because I think Mike Zimmer is a decent coach, but be honest, you can't help but sit here and say, man, he's got to be on that hot seat right now. And I think that seat's just going to get warmer after that game. So 0-3 for the Vikings, 2-1 for the Seahawks. Now we're on to the Sunday night game, and this could be another one that could be a good shootout here. San Francisco versus Green Bay. San Fran, a 3-point favorite.
I could see it because San Fran has had Green Bay's number the last few years. And it hasn't even been close in a sense that, like, they've just literally taken it to Green Bay. So, as much as I would love to see Green Bay, you know, beating them and avenging all those losses, I hate to say it, I really do think that San Fran is going to have Green Bay's number again and go to 3-0.
Yep, I would agree here. San Fran, they got Jimmy G back. He's healthy. George Kittle's healthy. They don't necessarily have a good running back core, but I will just say, though, the home field advantage and the fact that Green Bay is struggling to open the season, okay? That's another thing. You know, you can chalk up the fact that they won 35-17 against the against the Lions on Monday night. But to be honest, I mean, for a week there, we thought the Lions were going to be a team that weren't going to battle for the basement. But last week it showed that. And honestly, I think the Niners will get a big lead. They're going to choke it up, but they'll hold on to win again. It's going to be another cardiac game. And I just want to point this out. We talked about the spread being 3 points. That should be the spread for I think they flip-flop these because it should be a 3-point edge for the Seahawks and a 1.5 for San Fran. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm not a Vegas person, so
I would happen to agree with that. I think it's going to be a lot than what they're saying it will be. But again, San Fran has literally beaten Green Bay up badly. So don't be shocked if it ends up being not so close at all between those two teams on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. Here's another spread that I think should be a lot closer than it is. Eagles, Cowboys, Dallas with a 3.5-point edge.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go with Dallas over Philadelphia. I think Dallas has proved probably so far that their offense can definitely get it going. They were finally able to get the running game going. for the first time in quite some time. Zeke and Tony Pollard look really good. Don't be shocked if they end up being a two-man tandem against Philadelphia. Even though Philadelphia, I think defense has a better matchup against the Dallas offense. But then again, I really do think that Dallas is going to be able to beat Philadelphia and finally get that division lead back in their favor. So I wouldn't be shocked if, with Dallas winning. But I wouldn't also be shocked if Philadelphia ends up beating Dallas as well, too. But my pick is definitely Dallas.
Yeah. Can I just correct me if I'm wrong here, but is this not the revenge game for Backup Gate? That's what I'm going to call it. It was Backup Gate. Okay, throwing in Sudfeld in the fourth quarter to throw the game.
Yeah.
To cost the Cowboys the division. Wasn't that how it went down? Because
I think so.
I'm pretty
Something
sure
like
it was.
that.
So, be honest, the Cowboys are already entering this with a chip on their shoulder. So, I'm going to give Dallas the advantage here. I think Dak's going to have another 300-yard game. And he's going to climb up those quarterback power rankings. I think he will. So...
He's not a quarterback to take lightly, especially when you go up against him.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't throw for over 300 yards because he didn't have to throw over 300 yards.
Yeah.
Again, his running backs helped him out in a major way.
Oh, I know.
And if Dallas's offense and their offensive line has been top of the league for, in the past for a reason. And don't be shocked if they end up coming out there and creating holes for Zeke and Tony Pollard. And also, don't be shocked if it leads into, play action passes that Dak Prescott can find guys wide open. He has CeeDee Lamb, yes, Michael Gallup, and now Amari Cooper are both hurt. But CeeDee Lamb also showed that he's a good up-and-coming receiver in his second year in the league. But don't be shocked if he ends up finding guys open. And don't be shocked if Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott have to put more work because they only have one really good healthy receiver out there. Because Michael Gallup is still on IR. And I would assume that, like you said, Amari Cooper is out as well.
Or he's going to be limited. That would be my guess. But, again, I'm no medical doctor and I'm no Adam Schefter, so...
hearing that kind of makes you think that maybe it could be a Philadelphia more than Dallas, but I think Dallas is going to squeak out the win.
Yeah.
I think that the running attack is going to do just enough to beat Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, here we go. Cincinnati, Jacksonville. Hopefully this is the last of the shitty Thursday night games. I believe it is. Actually, it is because the next one after that is Week 5, and that's the Rams and the Seahawks. So, here we go. So, Cincinnati 6.5-point favorites. Is this a no-shit game?
I honestly think so. I think Joe Burrow is gonna outclass Trevor Lawrence. I really do think so.
Yep, I'm going to go Cincy. I'm not even going to explain why. Just look at how bad Jacksonville is. So...
It would shock me if Jacksonville has the same record that they did last year, except that this time it would be a 1-16 instead of 1-15.
Yep. So, yeah, with that, though... man, this week was kind of easy with picks. So with that, let's go on to Tinkle on this. And Jason, normally we talk wrestling, fighting of any sorts on No Final Bell. This is not anything to do with that. But one fighter did switch sports for a day. In a way, he threw out the first pitch at the Cubs game. Of course, we're speaking about Conor McGregor. He throws the first pitch and throws it way, way far away from the catcher. I mean, he missed through that ball. Man, oh man. He looked like Zach Wilson throwing a pass. Okay,
It wasn't even close.
when you're as accurate as Zach Wilson, or you're as accurate as Tim Tebow, okay, let's face it. That's when you should be told you should go to another sport.
Right.
Stick to UFC. I get you're on the back end of your career in UFC. You're probably gonna be done like fighting in the next few years. But Conor McGregor, Tinkle on this. What the fook was that? That's all I gotta say.
Hey, man. It's not a sport. I don't know.
Oh man,
That's all I can say to that.
I can't believe he botched it that bad. But I mean, at least now 50 Cent can breathe easy because Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, if you recall that first pitch, that was disastrous.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
This one topped. I don't know how it topped that. The only thing that could have been worse is if he threw it and it went backward.
Now, the thing is, I just want to know how hard it is for these celebrities to just botch the pitch like that. I mean, I know it's not easy to throw it from the mouth.
It's got to be on purpose.
Especially if you're not used to it, but come on.
It's got to be on purpose. Come on. Something just tells me it is. But I don't know.
It could be,
I
but
could
then
be
again,
looking too
still.
deep into it. So, with that, though, I guess it's time to say thanks for watching or listening. Of course, be sure to subscribe to us and check out our other shows. Jason, what's coming up on No Final Bell this week, if you have your itinerary for that?
Well, this week it was literally us Marty and I talking about what happened at Victory Road and Impact, and also what happened for AEW heading into Arthur Ashe Stadium, the biggest event ever. It actually drew 1.2 million viewership on TV, which is actually really good. And I hate to have to go after guys that think that they know best about WWE, but when you're beating them in the most important demographic, which is the 18 to 49-year-old demographic, that's the one you want to win, and they've been beating WWE in it. Then you get up. Well, it still sucks. Why should WWE have to fear them? Well, and you'll know why. If you're only catering to the kids, and then eventually get to that teenager thing, you can only draw in the kids for so long until they get to being into the 18-year-old range, and they're going to be like, why the hell did we like this? We want to go see something that's going to actually be for us to watch. It gets annoying. We talk about that, and of course, the next episode will be the Rochester Homecoming. I'm ready for it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, that's right. You'll be on site. So.
Yep, I'll be on site. So, Marty and I will definitely talk about our experience about, being there for AEW for the first time ever. So definitely check it out if you're a big wrestling fan. I know we probably should talk about a little bit more fighting and MMA type of stuff if it ends up happening.
There's really no
more
big
often,
fights
but
that have been coming up, so that's kind of fine to not be talking about that. So, I just want to say, going back to the demographic, of course, I don't watch wrestling, and I'm in that demographic. Okay, but I will just say the demographic of 18 to 49 is a huge one. Because, of course, that is a futures demographic. Okay?
Right.
Here's the thing. I don't want to say your opinion doesn't matter to those who are arguing against it, but I will just say, and you can take this to your show, by the way, and what I'm saying is that your opinion doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what you think about AEW, it's the fact of the matter that the majority has spoken, in a way.
Yeah.
And not to mention the future has spoken, saying that they don't want this. Okay,
Exactly.
I just want to address that right now, just to throw my 2 cents in. Of course, I have to do it, but
hey, that's all right.
so,
Because I had to throw my 2 cents in my little rant towards the end of the video about it too.
yeah. So again,
And
this is coming from a communications minor, by the way. I know I don't have TV background, but I can say that the 18 to 49 is a huge demographic. It's the one that's most talked about because, again, it's the futures. And most importantly, I think we can actually break that down into the 18 to 36 range because, in a way, they are more the future than the back half of it. And I would like to dive in deeper to that, but we don't really have time on this show to do that, especially today.
No, not at all.
Anyway, coming up on Out of Turn 4 this week, we are going to be crowning, of course, later today, we will be crowning an IndyCar champion. Will it be Alex Palou? Will it be Pato O'Ward? Or will it be Joseph Newgarden winning his 3rd title? That's going to be all up in the air today as they enter the Grand Prix of Long Beach. NASCAR, the round of 12, it's kicking off at Las Vegas under the lights tonight. Again, I questioned it last year over on SCN. I'm going to question it here again. I'm probably going to say it on the show as well. Why are you racing on NBCSN at the same time Sunday Night Football is on? That's just suicide. Plain and simple.
That's just murder.
That's suicide. Okay, I don't even need to show you the 18 to 49 demographic to have you know that that's suicide. So we will talk about that on the show. And of course, hopefully we'll have some other great silly season news coming your way. So that's all coming up on Tuesday, hopefully Tuesday at 5. Of course, last week I had a lot going on. I couldn't get it up on time. So, again, big shows coming up this week.
I couldn't have... Exactly. Unfortunately, I couldn't have gotten no final bell on time because I was running down with a low-grade fever that just passed by one day, which is weird. Yeah. But I am feeling 100% now. Probably going forward, it will be on time unless schedules permit, which might happen. So I'll try to get it on time as much as I can, but there's no promises about that because sometimes sometimes shit happens, and you just have to deal with it.
So those shows on YouTube, by the way, both Out of Turn 4 on Tuesday at 5, No Final Bell Wednesday generally at 5. But of course, subject to change. So, with that, another show is coming as well. Late Night with Zach Carmian. I believe it's oh my gosh, he sent me the name of it. I can't even look it up right now on my computer. So let me pull up my phone. But Zach Carmian is starting a late night show on Friday nights.
Interesting.
So. Let me go into my Discord app here. He sent it to me. I believe it starts this weekend. I'm sorry. I'm going to find it. I promise you I'm going to find it. All right, here we go. Friday Night Tinkle is what it's called with Zach Carmian. It's going to be kind of like a late night show in a way. It's going to air at 11 p.m. Eastern on this upcoming Friday, I believe. So you will want to check that out. It looks like he's going to be bringing on guests and whatnot. Most of it should be live. Again, I'm trying to read through the general specifics on the Friday Night Tinkle Discord channel. So again, Friday 11 p.m. on YouTube. You won't want to miss it. So again, and then we'll be back here next Sunday. So until then, guys, goodbye, everyone.